Board of County Commissioners acts as a quasi-judicial body when it hears requests for rezoning and conditional use permits. Applicants must provide competent, substantial evidence establishing facts or expert witness opinion testimony showing that the request meets the zoning code and comprehensive plan criteria. Opponents must also testify as to facts or provide expert testimony whether they like or dislike a request is not competent evidence. The board must then decide whether the evidence demonstrates consistency and compatibility with the comprehensive plan and the existing rules in the zoning ordinance, property adjacent to the property to be rezoned, and the actual development of the surrounding area. The board cannot consider speculation, non-expert opinion testimony, or poll the audience by asking those in favor or opposed to stand up or raise their hands. If a commissioner has had communications regarding a rezoning or conditional use permit request before the board, the commissioner must disclose the subject of the communication and the identity of the person, group, or entity with whom the communication took place before the board takes action on the request. Likewise, if a commissioner has made a site visit, inspection, or investigation, the commissioner must disclose that fact before the board takes action on the request. Each applicant is allowed a total of 15 minutes to present their request, unless time is extended by majority vote of the board. The applicant may reserve any portion of the 15 minutes for rebuttal. Other speakers are allowed 5 minutes to speak. Speakers may not pass their time to someone else in order to give that person more time to speak.
Okay, now April 15th, 2021. Good to have you with us. I'm looking for Assistant Pastor Christopher Garrison. Are you here, sir? You can't hear? Christopher Garrison?
I was actually scheduled to be here. You may have the wrong list. You have
I have Christopher Garrison on tonight. Do you guys?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Unless Ms. Bentley believes there's a legal issue with it, I would ask that we permit the gentleman who believes he's scheduled to be here to go ahead and do it.
I certainly will, sir. I'm just still looking to see if this other gentleman's here first. Okay. Did you want to come up?
This is for the indication, of course. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes. I'll be quick, but I want to share two thoughts real quick. For about 15 years, I am actually one of those residents who watches a big portion of the county commission meetings, so I certainly appreciate all that y'all do. I understand it's a labor of love, and I've seen, like I say, about the last 15 years worth, so I appreciate all the work that the staff does, that the county manager does, Space Coast TV, so on and so forth. And secondly, I'm from First Baptist Church of Rockledge. That church started in 1962, so we're going to celebrate 60 years next year. I've only been there about 8 months, and I'm trying to keep it up and running and kind of revive it some, so I'm just thankful to have that opportunity. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Our Heavenly Father, I thank you for this time. I thank you for this county that we have the pleasure and opportunity to live in, Lord. I thank you for each person who serves, whether paid or unpaid, or whether it's just a labor of love for them, Lord. I pray that you will bless their efforts. And I pray for tonight's meeting that each person will act with goodwill and will listen with understanding and will speak humbly, Lord. And I certainly know there's going to be differences of opinions and certainly thoughts and ideas that may seem to counteract each other, Lord, but I'm sure each person here has the right heart to say we want to serve our community and serve our citizens in the right way. So I pray that you'll bless that time that they spend here doing this, and that each person here will recognize your presence, and in each way that they speak with others, maybe they can kind of see you revealed in them. We thank you for all you do for us. We give you all the praise and glory, as always, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank
Thank you very
sir.
much.
Thank you. We have a quorum. Someone call the meeting to order. Commissioner Tobias.
We stand and join in the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Right. We are moving into the consent agenda. Commissioner Smith, you wanted to pull item F1, correct, sir?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And the reason I want to pull this is because I had Ted in my office this afternoon regarding this issue. And in the conversation that he and I had, he said, Commissioner, this might be a good one for us to look at and have the commissioners ask us to look at it and bring it back for legislative intent, because this issue comes up a lot. and he thinks that they can tweak this so it's not so common. So I would request the board, yes, I'm going to make a motion that we ask Tad and his staff to review this and come back to us with some legislative intent.
Motion on the table, do I have a
I'll
second?
second for discussion.
Second for discussions, Commissioner Lober, your light, sir.
I appreciate that. Just a couple thoughts, and first, Commissioner Smith, I'm just going to let you know, whatever you want to do on this, I'm going to vote with you. I just wanted to bring a couple thoughts that came to my mind, and however you feel, good, bad, or indifferent, I'm with you. When I was reading this, a couple things. First, I saw that there was an existing enhanced 6-foot fence, and I didn't know if an enhanced fence was some term of art where it actually meant something, or if it was just on account of the pillars. Having spoken with P&D, it is just on account of the pillars. Looking at what Natural Resources input was with respect to the wall potentially reducing or somehow impacting drainage, I don't know, and I'm just going to kind of hazard a guess here that pretty much any wall in pretty much any situation would likely have some impact on drainage, because you obviously have to have the wall, at least the foundations for it, dug in, and it's going to obstruct, at least if you have surface water that's running in the direction that the wall otherwise obstructs, potentially could cause problems with that. I don't have an issue with it. I just saw those couple things, and obviously we have a requirement to have a wall. I don't know that we need the requirement in this circumstance. If it seems like an enhanced 6-foot fence, if it's something we want to look at defining potentially, if that's something that's sufficient and won't create problems, but I just wanted to kind of bring those couple general thoughts to your attention, but whatever you want to do, I'm good.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the table. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. And now, Commissioners, I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved, Lober?
Motion by Commissioner Lober, second by Commissioner Zonka. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. We're going to move into public comment. I have one card, and that is Mr. Alex Greenwood.
And Mr. Greenwood, everyone has the handouts that you provided at the beginning of the meeting.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Alex Greenwood, 640 Brevard Avenue, Cocoa, Florida. Greetings, Madam Chair. Greetings to the commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to make a real quick, informative presentation that is not necessarily for zoning, but it does have the value associated to the zoning. The paperwork that I provided, and Mr. Lober had assisted on making sure you all got it, the items that are circled, 1 and 2, is the one that I'm going to use as an example. What I'm here for is to bring to the public information that what I've noticed is a potential mistake because this property, 1 and 2, which is one of the same, I made an offer to buy the property, and for the amount that they were asking, which was $1,325,000, of course, I was out of the ball game. They didn't accept my offer, but I notice now that since it was changed hands, that the amount that it was bought for was put for both parcels, the total of $1.3 million, when in reality you were supposed to split it in half. So each parcel should be showing a sales price of half of what the $1.3 million is. And the reason I'm bringing it to your attention is I have property next door, and it affected me on a valuation of over $70,000. And I'm wondering if this might have happened on other property. I am familiar with some other examples. I didn't want to take any more time, but this is not the only property I've seen that this has happened to.
Thank you, sir. I think we just saw you the adjustment.
Yes, ma'am, you did.
And I think he gave you a recommendation to go ahead and take it a step
and I'm going to
forward.
go through with that.
Okay, well, let me know what happens when you get done.
Yes, ma'am, I certainly will. And I just wanted to add a little more information like I did now, because I didn't come to that meeting with this, and I just wanted to present it. That way you all be more familiar with it. I didn't know if it's something that could be a good notice that they can prevent from this repeating itself, since I've seen it on other property already.
Okay, I think
Thank you.
Commissioner Lober wants to ask something, but I would
Sure.
recommend maybe go to the property appraiser.
I have already, ma'am.
Wonderful, and then
Yes, ma'am.
do the route you're doing and let me know what happens at the
Yes,
end of
Madam
it.
Chair. I'm just trying to prevent from anything escalating even worse. And
Yes,
I wanted
sir.
the citizens to see it too, because a lot of times they don't read it the way that I do. I'm
Right.
a licensed builder for the state of Florida, and I'm also a licensed realtor, so I'm around it a lot, so it just went out like a red flag.
Okay, well, I'm really interested when you get some information back after you
Thank you
do the
very
due
much.
process,
If
sir.
there's any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Commissioner Lober?
Just real briefly on this, I had a chance to touch base with Ms. Bentley before the meeting. I'm going to work with her to do a little bit more due diligence on this. I think there may be some potential that we could put potentially in place a couple safeguards to hopefully keep people in good stead, but I also want to be mindful of not stepping on an autonomous constitutional officer's toes, so it's going to take me a little while to dig into it. But I'll certainly work with her and then reach out to Dana Blickley and see if we can perhaps come to a better place with respect to these sort of issues.
Thank you, sir. Okay,
If
well,
there's no other
you're,
questions, I'll,
no, sir. We're
allow
moving
you-
into item H1.
okay, good. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Madam Chair, item H1, all space storage requests to change the zoning classification from BU-1 to BU2. It's located in District 1.
Commissioners, I'm comfortable with this. If someone would like to make a motion.
Approve?
Motion by Commissioner Smith, second by Commissioner Lober. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. Item H2.
Caden Law LLC requests a change the zoning classification from BU-1 to BU2. It's located in District 4.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Smith, this is, I'm sorry,
Yeah, I'm good
District
with
4.
this.
Yes, sir. I have one card on it. Is this for questions only? I think we're getting ready to approve it. Is that you? Okay, wonderful. Okay, so I have a motion by Commissioner
Second, Lober.
Smith, second by Commissioner Lober. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. Item H3.
SDLD LLC requests to change the zoning classification from AU to EU. It's located in District 2.
Commissioner Lober.
Move to approve?
Motion by Commissioner Lober. Second by Commissioner Zonka. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. We're on item H4 and H5 together, right, sir?
Yes, Madam Chair. Item H4 and H5 will be read together since they are companion applications. However, they will need to be voted on by separate motions. So item H4 is Robert Van Horn and Gerald Hauk requests a small-scale comprehensive plan amendment to change the future land use designation from NC to CC. It's located in District 2. Item H5 is Robert Van Horn and Gerald Hauk requests a change of zoning classification from RU-1-9 to BU2, also located in District 2.
Commissioner Lober?
Just a quick question, if I may, for Jeff. Jeff, with respect to the BDP, would you rather tie that to H4 or H5?
It should be tied to H5.
H5, okay. So in that case, I'd go ahead and move to approve H4 as is.
Okay, I have a
Second.
motion to approve H4 by Commissioner Lober, second by Commissioner Smith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0.
All right, with respect to H5, I did have a chance to speak with the applicant about a BDP a few moments before this meeting started, in fact. Actually, come to think of it, I should have probably mentioned that prior to the vote on H4. I apologize. If anyone wants to reconsider, I'm happy to do that. But otherwise, with respect to that, the applicant, and I'll have him come up and confirm, has agreed that he'll be permitted, assuming this is approved, to, with respect to H5 here, the small scale, I'm sorry, not the small scale, the zoning classification from RU-19 to BU2, that he'll have restrictions only on the following. So he'll be permitted to do anything else that otherwise would be permitted in BU2 except the following, and I'll just read them off. Aquariums, auditoriums, billiard rooms and electronic arcades, bottling beverages, bowling alleys, cafeterias, dancing halls and academies, fraternities and sororities, hospitals, commercial parking, pet kennels, seafood processing plants, and theaters. So if I don't know if one of the folks on the applicant side can come up and just
Do we
sort
have
of
the
give it a thumbs
applicant
up.
here? Sir, if you would come forward, so we can just get you on the record.
Robert Van Horn.
Hi, sir. Are you comfortable with that in a binding development?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
So I'll go ahead and move to approve with the BDP as read in, so everything permitted that otherwise would be permitted in BU2 except those items I read.
Okay, we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Smith. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Item H6.
Scott H. and Debora Speer request a change of zoning classification from RR-1 to AU located in District 2.
Commissioner Lober, this is you again, sir.
Yes, ma'am, and if it's all right, if I can bounce a couple questions to Jeff and Tad?
Yes, you certainly may. And I do have the applicants here, so I'm guessing they're fine not speaking if we pass it, right? So we'll be ready.
Yeah, Jeff, I don't know if you've all had a chance to speak with them about the concerns with agritourism and the animals?
My staff has contacted the Spears, and from what I was told is that they were open to having a voluntary BDP to restrict the uses to not allow agritourism
Okay.
and to restrict the farm animals to 2 donkeys and 2 pigs.
Ms. Spear, will you come forward?
Yeah, this is kind of one of the more interesting ones I've had come up in the past. Looking at the notes that accompanied the agenda item, the North Merritt Island Dependent Special District Board minutes. There's a comment here about not knowing what's going on with the pig, but they're definitely going to be 2 donkeys. I couldn't help but get a kick out of that. So I didn't know if it's something where you're only planning on having 1 pig. I just didn't know if you'd.
Well, I already have a pig,
Okay.
and she temporarily lives with my friend on her farm because we went from Titusville to North Merritt Island. So she had to go live with her until we got approved. But in the meantime, she acquired a boyfriend.
The pig
So,
did?
his name is Mikey. And so if we take her, we have to take Mikey. We're not sure if we're going to take them both or just let them stay there now.
All right, I'm not one to knock true love. So, all right, if you're amenable to a BDP,
I
limiting
have
the.
no idea what that is.
So binding development plan, basically you'd be voluntarily limiting yourself, in this case, not to conduct agritourism, and then also not to have other farm animals. We're not talking about dogs or cats, but things like horses, cows. You'd be restricted on the farm animal side to no more than 2 pigs and 2 donkeys.
2 donkeys, 2 pigs, and then we're going to do the lemon and lime orchard.
Perfect. If you're good with that, I'll go ahead and with that contemplated as part of the motion, move to approve H6.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Zonka. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Moving into item H7.
Item H7 is the Port St. John Small Area Study. Back in 2018, in October, the board directed staff to conduct a small area study for the Port St. John area. Staff was to look at issues such as the population, demographics, housing, land use and zoning, and infrastructure. Based on the committee's recommendations and the recommendations of the P&Z and the Dependent Special District, the recommendations are in your agenda packet. There are 5 recommendations that came out of that. The board has different options to look at. If you look at recommendation 1 was not acknowledged by either the Port St. John Dependent Special District nor the P&Z Advisory Board. So just to bring that to your attention, the board can acknowledge the other ones. They also can change as they see fit to any of the recommendations moving forward.
Thank you, sir. Commissioners, I would like to, if someone would make a motion to acknowledge the receipt of the recommendations. Of
So
the
moved. Lober?
Okay. The receipt of the Port St. John Small Area Study is your motion, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Do I have a second? Second by Commissioner Tobias. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. We are moving into board reports. Mr. Abate.
No report.
Ms. Bentley.
I just wanted to let you know there are some developments in the opioid litigation, and we will be receiving documents from the Attorney General and probably outside counsel, and either outside counsel or I or both of us will be contacting you to discuss it shortly.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner Lober?
Right, just a couple things, and I'm going to throw these out just to kind of plant a bug. And I probably will put together a memo at some point in the next week or two with respect to these. I've already addressed in the prior memo and in the prior, I think the last meeting or 2 meetings ago, some ideas about doing small business grants and then offsetting a portion of the fire assessment that were proposed and that I believe is up on the 20th of this month to vote on. Now, these are additional potential uses. The TDT has about $3.5 million in lost revenue for the year. So I don't know that necessarily $3.5 million is the correct amount, but I would be amenable to using some of the stimulus funds that we're going to receive to offset that loss. And I'll tell you part of the reason why. When I was at the last TDT meeting, there was quite a bit of concern expressed, especially by the beachside community folks, that we are in a position where we're uncomfortably low on the revenue side for the TDT, and with respect to things like beach renourishment, if we continue to spend the way that we've spent in the past, we may be uncomfortably close where if there's an issue, we may run out of money. One of the other side effects of that kind of troubles me, it doesn't kind of trouble me, it does trouble me, is that the money that's traditionally gone or historically gone over the past several years from the TDT to focus on water quality cleanup for the lagoon, there was a proposal that we stop doing that for the time being. I don't mind stopping that if we can identify another source of funding so that we don't reduce the overall amount that we're contributing to the cause. I think this is another source of funding. So I really don't want to stop, even if it's a relatively small drop in the bucket, forgive the pun, compared to the Sorrel half-cent tax. I really don't want to give up any footing with respect to the lagoon. So I would just ask folks to think about whether there'd be some willingness to put some number up to potentially $3.5 million, but not necessarily that high, from the forthcoming stimulus funds into the TDT to replace that lost revenue that we just didn't have on account of COVID. The other item, and I don't know how the other districts are doing, but certainly we've been getting hammered in my district with recent problems reflecting waste management pickups that have been missed, both with recycling, with yard waste, and even with regular service. I've spoken with Waste Management. I know that they've taken some corrective actions. I'm hoping that things are going to be better now. But I still think, and I know this came up when we discussed the waste management or the solid waste bid that went out a little while back now, I suggested the possibility of doing a feasibility study to bring trash collection in-house, much like Titusville and Rockledge do. We may want to look at allocating some amount of money. It would be a relatively small percentage of the overall pot, but this is a way to fund something like that, to give us options for down the road, even if we elect not to pursue any of those options, or if there's one option, whatever that option may be. It certainly can't hurt in giving us additional potential leverage and an ability to say, legitimately so, we can do this in-house if the bids that come back the next time it goes out are ridiculous or overly high. So just a couple things for folks to think about. I'll put some more effort into it and get some particulars down, and hopefully we can revisit the discussion in the next meeting or two.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to thank the candle lighters publicly. Candle lighters, for those of you that don't know, they were formed back in the 90s by two local mothers who both had children going through cancer at the same time, and they discovered there was no support group for families like theirs, and so they created this. And their catchphrase is, because kids can't fight cancer alone. I don't know if the camera can focus in on this, which would be a better way to go. There we go. And I'll read it. It says, Candle Lighters of Brevard, because kids can't fight cancer alone. Certificate of Appreciation awarded to Commissioner Smith, presented April 2021, in recognition of the critical financial support provided to Candle Lighters of Brevard by the Brevard County Board of County Commissioners. And that's the point. The Board of County Commissioners, they presented this to me, but it was for you guys. And it was the Board of County Commissioners that provided the funds that went out to these businesses like Candle Lighters and many, many others that have helped them through this COVID experience. So my thanks and their thanks to us.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Tobias, sorry. Missed you in the round here. Sir. I think it's your glasses.
Is it? Thank you.
Yeah.
A boat without water is nothing. A man without dreams is nothing.
Did you tell Billy you're going to fit that in somewhere? Yeah. Okay. Okay, Vice Chair Zonka.
I just wanted to give a quick shout out to our county staff. You only have to watch one of their briefings, where they brief about the COVID-19, vaccination and the efforts and the distribution of funding, and it's quite a nice thing to watch. I'm really impressed with Don Walker and the director of the EOC and Matt and Ian giving an update on the community services. And every time I chime in, every time I'm able to tune in, I'm very impressed with the information they're giving to people. And we're getting a lot less calls in our office because we're doing a better job of getting that information out. So kudos to staff and thank you.
Agreed, it's working really well, too. I just want to make a mention. Commissioner Tobias sent out a memo to each of us, and I like it. So I know as we're working on this, so the things that, we feel are the most important, those things will be able to rise to the top, and we'll be able to make those choices and decisions. I just want to tell you, sir, because I couldn't tell you back and forth, because Eden called me up and said, don't you even think about answering. I said, no, ma'am. So, but I like the thought and the idea. I think it's a good one. So I just thought I would throw that in now. All right, on that, I'll call this meeting adjourned.
The opinions expressed by any member of the public during any period of public comment do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of the Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, Space Coast Government Television, or the program sponsor, and are solely those of the presenter. The Board of County Commissioners of Brevard County, Florida, Space Coast Government Television, and the program sponsor hereby expressly disclaim any and all responsibility or liability for any defamatory or slanderous statements expressed by any member of the public during any such period.